Make speed your secret sauce. Yeah, hey everybody, this is Ian from mindfulmarketplace.com, and welcome back to Serve and Scale, where we look at what can you borrow to build, what can you leverage to launch, how can you 10x your audience, your output, your impact, and ultimately your income, even on a bootstrap budget. All right, so I wanted to make a quick follow-up audio for my community. If you're not part of the community, I encourage you to sign up at the link below. We have lots of great workflows and worksheets and walkthroughs on building a digital media brand. But one of the things that has been quite popular in the last couple of weeks, and yet I've gotten a fair amount of email questions about, is this idea of secret sauce, like how to create your secret sauce, right? So you have your product to solve X problem for Y audience with your secret sauce. Lots of people are struggling with this idea of coming up with something that differentiates them or their brand or their agency or their offers in a way that is so overwhelming or so irresistible to your ideal audience that people choose you rather than the alternative, rather than your competition, which would be the alternative. So here's what I'd recommend, right? So I'd encourage you to go back and listen to a couple of the last few weeks of audios and worksheets on this idea of secret sauce. One, as I said in one of these recent audios, your secret sauce doesn't need to be your sauce, right? You can borrow other tools, tech, software, services, products, and platforms and make them your sauce, right? You can just borrow really good solutions that solve real problems for your audience and, either pay for them or incorporate them into your offerings. That could be something like a great WordPress theme or a landing page, creator, or whatever it is for you, right? Whatever makes the most sense for your brand or your business. But, and I don't want to recapitulate that whole series of suggestions. You can go back and listen to exactly what I recommend in that video, right? Which was, sometime in the last week. This is the 21st of May, so it was probably in the last 10 days. But another thing that you can consider doing is making speed your secret sauce, right? So one of the things that we've done in our business and tested quite impressively over the last month or so is this idea of incorporating speed as a USP or as a unique selling proposition. So a few months ago, I think it probably was at this point, I was sitting one night watching TV with my girlfriend, and I came across this website that was selling, and I don't want to give away the name of the website, but they were essentially giving away a high-end, they weren't giving it away, they were selling a high-end, web brand development package that was delivered in about a day, right? So their entire marketing pitch, their whole presentation, their whole sales spiel was this sprint, right? So we ideate, execute, implement, optimize, and, go to market in a day, right? And the website was well done. I actually saw the website via a design award style site, right? So, I just stumbled upon this marketing agency, which was offering this super sprinty, solution for their clients. And they're charging a shitload of money for this, right? So with speed comes the appearance of scarcity and, a premium price tag, right? If you're getting something delivered in a day, right? I mean, there's something that you're going to pay for that. You're agreeing to, in return for speed, to get, you're not expecting that to be super cheap either, right? And so I started thinking about that, like how can we incorporate that into some of our email outreach, right? And what I came up with, this wasn't even my idea. I had some really shitty suggestions that preceded this, but this idea of launch in 3, right? And it was actually because that was one of the domains that was available for this. as well as, some back and forth with a couple people who weren't even necessarily involved in my business about what would be like a really appealing offer. And pretty much everyone said like 3 days, right? So, going to market in 3 days with this, like something that you're really excited about. And, you've like dragged your feet on forever, and you've thought about and ruminated and perseverated and just have never actually implemented, executed, and brought to life. So I came up with this whole pitch around we are the brand accelerator, idea incubator for entrepreneurs with a need for speed, right? Enlightened entrepreneurs with a need for speed, because our audience are generally people in the mindfulness and, the healing, the spiritual growth spaces. So that's a good, message to market match, this enlightened, in quotes, entrepreneurial audience. And essentially, we started mailing this out, and the results have been really good. I actually posted something on Facebook. You can see that on The Mindful Market, our Facebook page. I ran an ad or a series of ads that got a ton of likes, love, shares, all predicated on this idea of speed. Right. And essentially all we're really doing is I copied an idea, right? I made it 3 days because that was the domain that was available, right? 3 days. And some other people said it was probably, I wanted to do it in 7 days, and the other people, the feedback I was getting from people in my peer group and my professional peer group was, and even the layperson peer group, because these were people who, aren't even in this business, were like, yeah, that's not so super impressive. A week is not, it's not speedy enough, right? But 3 days, wow. You give me this idea on a Sunday night and we will have you live at 5 on Wednesday. That's exciting to people. Anyway, so speed can be your secret sauce, right? You can simply go out and use this idea to acquire clients, right? Instead, use the Domino's pizza, it doesn't have to be like a cheesy, no pun intended, approach. You can give premium services. We're not giving people lowbrow solutions. We're giving people real, legitimately, high quality solutions, just with super speed, with a super fast turnaround time. And I'll tell you something else that is really easy to implement. We're templatizing the whole thing. We're productizing it, I should say, right? So essentially the tools and tech that we're using are things like Ghost, right? A membership site. So that's part of the offer, like a custom delivered membership site in only 3 days, or a Studio Press or the Genesis blog framework, the same thing, delivered in 3 days with, hosting and all these other things, ideation, execution, optimization, blah, 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 which are really going to be, legitimately offers that we're proud of and will stand behind, and marketing magic and all these different sort of systems that I already have in place. But the real USP here is speed, right? We're going to bring you to life in 3 days. And the last thing I'm going to say is now is the time for that, right? There are people who are home right now who have this sense of urgency when it comes to their brand, their business, their offerings, their services, their professional livelihoods depend on being able to migrate into an online space, right? People who in the past, and I know tons of them because they're in my community, people who are doctors and therapists and coaches who have dilly-dallied for years around building this blog and building this online brand and writing a book and creating courses and all this stuff around their areas of expertise. Well, guess what? Now the world has changed in this surreal way, and people are on edge about what the future looks like. None of us know, right? But the one thing we could all agree is that the online space is where everything feels safe and feels exciting and feels like it's the area that most smart folks want to explore. So take advantage of that now. Use speed as your secret sauce. Try it. Maybe it won't work. Maybe you'll need to refine and hone it down and come up with different, twists and turns on the general idea of speed. But I promise you, if you cannot lose by using something like speed as your part of your secret sauce, if not the whole sauce itself. Okie doke. Thanks so much for listening. Again, if you're interested in joining our community, there's a link below in the YouTube description box. I'd love to have you. And for everyone else, thanks again. And I hope you have a good night. If you have any questions, as always, hi@mindfulmarketplace.com or connect with me on Facebook at The Mindful Market, facebook.com, The Mindful Market. Thanks so much and have a good night.